Okay, recording na tayo guys. Mhm. So yun nga, yung continuation lang ng sampling, okay, ng audit sampling, yung i-di-discuss natin today. Okay, the next meeting, completion na, completing the audit. Okay, ayun pala hindi ko pa rin pala na-upload yung handout doon. Actually pati itong handout na 'to pala. Sige, after the lecture i-upload natin. Okay, ayan siguro naman hindi na natin kailangan mag-recap 'no, puro ano lang naman 'to, puro terms. Yung, diniscuss natin last meeting. Okay, ngayon itutuloy natin siya sa attributes sampling. Okay, saan ba ginagamit ito? Sa test of controls. Okay. The procedures for attribute sampling are presented below. Okay, number one, determine the objectives of the test. Number two, define the attribute. Okay. Yung attribute, yun yung characteristic of control na hinahanap mo doon sa test of control. Okay? Halimbawa, yung authorization. Okay. Then, define mo rin yung deviation o yung absence ng attribute na hinahanap mo. Okay, halimbawa, dapat may proper authorization ng supervisor yung mga transactions. Tapos, dapat pumipirma siya dun sa kung anumang document yung nag-e-evidence doon sa transaction na yun. Then, nung tinignan mo, walang pirma. Oh, yung deviation yun. Next, define the population. Next, choose an audit sampling approach or technique. Okay, yung approach, yung mga techniques na yan, napag-usapan na natin last time, no? Okay. Then next, determine the sample size and sample selection method. Then perform the sampling plan. Then evaluate sample results and comply with documentation requirements. Okay, again sa TOC ito. Okay, kaya ayan, nakikita mo dyan, yung attribute ng hinahanap natin, tapos yung mga deviation dun sa attributes na na-identify natin. Okay, dito pala hindi ko nalagyan ng title ano, pero yung table na 'yan, 'yan yung, factors na nakaka-affect sa sample size, dito sa attribute sampling. Okay, o dun sa TOC. Sige, add natin dito 'no. Factors affecting, yan, teka, factors affecting, sample size for TOC o test of controls. Isa-isahin lang natin. Una, an increase in the auditor's intended reliance on accounting and internal control systems. Okay. Kapag, nag-increase yung intention, okay, o yung intended reliance ni auditor dun sa internal control system, siyempre mag-i-increase yung sample size for test of controls. Next, an increase in the rate of deviation from the prescribed control procedure that the auditor is willing to accept. O yung tinatawag ding tolerable deviation rate. Okay, so, kapag nag-increase naman yung, tolerance o itong tolerable deviation rate, puwedeng mag-decrease ng sample size. Ibig sabihin, mas willing ka mag-accept ng mas maraming, deviation, okey, dun sa controls. So, puwedeng liitan yung sample size. Pero, ito guys ano, kino-consider siya as a whole, okey? Titingnan mo lahat 'yan, ah, bago mo, ah, bago mo masabi kung, ah, mag-i-increase ka ba or magde-decrease ka ng sample size. Okay, so lahat ng factors na yan iko-consider mo. Next, an increase in the rate of deviation from the prescribed control procedure that the auditor expects to find in the population o yung expected deviation rate. Pag nag-increase naman yung expected deviation rate o tingin mo maraming ah, control deviations ang makikita mo, dapat increase mo yung sample size. Okay? Madali naman siya intindihan, no? Actually, self-explanatory naman. Next, an increase in the auditor's required confidence level. Okay? Or conversely, a decrease in the risk that the auditor will conclude that the control risk is lower than the actual control risk in the population, o yung risk of assessing control risk too low. Okay, ito napag-usapan na natin, no? Risk of assessing control risk too low. Sige, balikan lang natin dito sa taas. Nasaan yun? Ayun, dito sa taas. Ayan, risk of assessing control risk too low, o yung risk of over-reliance. Again, saan mo nakita to? Sampling risk in TOC. Okay? Kaya nung nakita mo doon sa attribute sampling, yun pa rin yung ano, no, yung risk na pinag-uusapan, yung risk of assessing control risk too low. Okay, ayan. This is the risk that a sample does support assessing control risk below the maximum when unknown to the auditor. The true deviation rate in the population supports assessing control risk at the maximum. Okay, so dapat mataas yung ginawa mong assessment sa control risk, pero ginawa mong mababa. Okay, so risk of assessing control risk too low. Ayan, may epekto rin yan sa sample size yan. Okay, increase in the auditor's required confidence level. Ibig sabihin, dapat mataas yung confidence ni auditor na hindi niya ma-assess yung control risk too low. So, dapat taasan niya yung sample size. Okay. So, dito, yung yung confidence level nag-increase. Conversely, may decrease naman doon sa risk of assessing control risk too low. Okay, parang relational naman yung analysis dito ni ng author natin sa libro. So, ganun na lang din yung gawin mong analysis. So, pag nag-increase yung required confidence level, conversely, may decrease yan dun sa risk of assessing control risk too low. And anong epekto niyan sa sample size? Lalaki, okay. Lakihan mo. Yan. Then, last, an increase in the number of sampling units in the population, negligible effect. Okay, so regardless, no, doon sa number of sampling units doon sa population, hindi naman niya ma-define kung kailangan bang lakihan yung sample size o liitan. Okay, so ito yung factors talaga. Ayan. Ayan. Teka, ulitin natin. Okay, ayaw niya yatang. Ayan, okay. So dito pa rin, no, test of controls pa rin. Other sampling applications for TOC. Ito, idagdag mo lang doon sa mga definition of terms na alam mo. Ayan. Sequential sampling is used when the auditor expects very few deviations within the population being tested. Under this method, the auditor has no fixed sample size. No fixed sample size. Ano ba ginagawa kasi dito sa sequential sampling? Ito, after testing a sample, the auditor makes a decision whether to stop testing or to continue with the sampling plan. Hence, the name stop or go sampling. Okay. So, habang ginagawa ni auditor yung testing, siya rin mag-identify kung kailangan pa ba niya ng further na samples or stop na. Okay, sequential sampling. Next naman, discovery sampling is most appropriate when no deviations are expected within the population. Thus, even a single deviation is a cause for concern. This is normally used when the auditor expects fraud or suspects fraud. Okay, discovery sampling involves the determination of sample size, which is sufficient to discover at least one deviation to confirm whether fraud has occurred. Okay. Ayan, dito pala may example, no? Basic example on evaluation of samples while performing TOC. Yan, may binigay na scenario. An external auditor is testing the authorization controls over purchases. Accordingly, the auditor decided to sample purchase invoices and trace them to the related approved purchase orders. So tracing yung ginagawa niya. Uy. Yan. Suppose that the auditor decided that based on an understanding of the internal control and the auditor's judgment, the auditor expects that there are 3 purchases with improper authorization for every 100 purchase transactions. So dito, kinuha niya lang yung expected deviation rate niya. So 3 purchases daw every 100 purchase transactions. So ilang percent yon? 3% yung expected deviation rate. Okay. The auditor believes that he can tolerate up to 6 deviations for every 100 purchase transactions. So 6 over 100, no? 6%. And yun yung tolerable deviation rate. Accordingly, the auditor assesses control risk at less than high because the expected population deviation rate, 3%, is less than the tolerable deviation rate, 6%. Okay, kitang-kita mo naman dito. Oh. Ayan, ilan ba yung expected deviation rate? 3% lang. Pero ilan yung kaya mong i-tolerate? 6%. Okay, so may allowance pa. Ibig sabihin, less than high yung kanyang control risk. Okay. Ayan. The auditor selected 100 samples and noted 4 deviations in the sample. Okay. So, pagka ganyan naman, nakita niya may 4 talaga. Okay. Na deviation doon sa sample, tinatawag naman niya sample deviation rate. 4%. Okay. 4 over 100. So, dito may dalawang scenario. If non-statistical sampling is used, the sample deviation rate shall be compared against the tolerable deviation rate and evaluated as follows. Okay. Palitan natin yung kulay. Yan. If sample deviation rate is equal to or less than the tolerable deviation rate, controls may be effective. Okay, and yung control risk is less than high. Yan din yung conclusion mo dito, no? Sa taas. And if naman, yung sample deviation rate is greater than the tolerable deviation rate, controls are not effective. Okay, kung halimbawa, naging 8% yung sample deviation rate dito. Okay, kasi 4% lang siya eh. Halimbawa, 8%. Ibig sabihin, mas malaki siya doon sa tolerable, which means that the controls are not effective. Simpleng-simple lang. Ito naman, if statistical sampling is used, the auditor must first consider the effect of sampling risk. Sampling risk, napag-usapan na natin. No? Nag-drawing pa tayo last meeting. Yun yung risk na hindi nare-represent ng sample, yung population. Okay, and paano nga ulit yun? I-decrease. Lakihan mo yung sample size. Okay? So, sa statistical sampling, the auditor first must consider the effect of sampling risk. Assume that in the above example, the appropriate allowance for sampling risk is 1%. Okay, so anong gagawin mo dyan sa 1% na yan? Ayan. The sample deviation rate shall first be added to the allowance for sampling risk. Pinag-add lang yung 4% and yung 1%. Again, yung 4%, yan yung sample deviation rate. Okay. And yun, in-add lang yung sampling risk. Tapos, compare na ulit. Compared against the tolerable deviation rate. Okay, tinatawag pala yung upper deviation rate, no? Yung combination ng sampling risk and ng sample deviation rate. Okay, then yung upper deviation rate na yan, yan yung i-compare sa tolerable deviation rate. Ayan. Same lang din naman yung conclusion. If equal to or less than, effective yung controls. Kapag naman greater than, controls are not effective. Okay. In the above example, the upper deviation rate of 5% is less than the tolerable deviation rate of 6. Hence, the conclusion is that the authorization controls over purchases are effective. Okay. Madali lang naman, no? May question ba dito? Unmute ka lang kung may question ka. Okay. Mukhang wala naman. Tara, proceed tayo dito. Variables sampling naman. Okay. Ito namang variable sampling, sa substantive test naman siya. Applicable, no? Ayan, the procedures for variable sampling are presented below. First, determine the objectives of the test. Next, define fair presentation and material misstatement. Next, define the population. Next, choose an audit sampling approach. Then, determine the sample size and the sample selection method. Perform the sampling plan. Evaluate the results. Comply with documentation requirements. Okay, and then, itong factors ulit, no? Factors affecting sample size for substantive tests. Kanina kasi, for TOC yun. Okay. So, dito, for substantive naman. Una, an increase in the auditor's assessment of inherent risk. Okay. Kapag nag-increase yung assessment ng auditor sa inherent risk, lalakihan din yung um, sample size. Next, an increase in the auditor's assessment of control risk. Okay. Control risk naman to. Or a decrease in the reliance on internal controls. Increase din yung sample size. Actually, ito napag-usapan na natin, di ba? Okay, pagka sa results ng TOC mo na-identify mo na hindi ka pwede mag-rely doon sa controls kasi ineffective siya. So, anong effect ulit nun? Dadami yung substantive test mo. Okay? Mas magiging matrabaho kasi nga, kailangan mong lakihan. Okay, yung sample size. Okay. Next, an increase in the use of other substantive procedures directed at the same financial statement assertion. Ibig sabihin, meron kang alternative procedure, no? Okay. So, kapag ganun, may ginawa ka ng ibang procedure for the same assertion, pwede mo nang bawasan yung sample mo para dun sa iba pang procedure na gagawin mo. Next, an increase in the auditor's required confidence level. Okay. Or conversely, a decrease in the risk that the auditor will conclude that a material error does not exist when in fact it does, o yung risk of incorrect acceptance naman. Pinag-usapan na natin last time. Okay, sige, balikan din natin. Risk of incorrect acceptance. Nandito yan sa taas. Ayun, no? Risk of incorrect acceptance under sampling risk in substantive tests. Okay. Ayan. So, nag-increase nga ulit yung required confidence level. So, taasan yung sample size. Same analysis dito. Ayan. Increase in the required confidence level under TOC. Okay, nag-increase yung sample size. Next, an increase in the total error that the auditor is willing to accept o yung tolerable error. Nag-increase yung tolerable error. Ibig sabihin, mas maraming error na kayang tanggapin. Okay. Decrease in sample size. Then, an increase in the amount of error the auditor expects to find in the population o yung expected error. Increase in sample size. Then ito, stratification of the population when appropriate. Itong stratification, napag-usapan na rin natin, no? Ito yung ginugroup yung population natin, no, into strata. And sabi natin, Sige, balikan natin yung stratification dito. Yan. Audit efficiency may be improved if the auditor stratifies a population by dividing it into discrete subpopulations. Okay. Which have identifying characteristic. The objective is to reduce the variability of items within each stratum and therefore allow sample size to be reduced. Okay, so dito wala, nabanggit na natin na kapag nag-stratify tayo ng sample, ng population, magbabawas tayo. Okay? Pwede tayo mag-decrease sa sample size. Okay, and then ito, number of sampling units, again, is negligible. Yung effect. Okay. Yan naman para dito sa variable sampling. Okay, baka may question ka? Unmute ka lang. Malapit na tayo matapos. No? Okay, tara, tuloy natin. Ayan, projecting errors naman. For TOC, no explicit projection of errors is necessary since the sample error rate is also the projected rate of error for the population as a whole. For TOD, o yung test of details, o yung substantive test, the auditor should project monetary errors found in the sample to the population. Okay, and should consider the effect of the projected error on the particular audit objective and on other areas of the audit. The auditor projects the total error for the population to obtain a broad view of the scale of errors and to compare this to the tolerable error. For TOD, tolerable error is the tolerable misstatement and will be an amount less than or equal to the auditor's materiality used for individual class of transactions or account balances. Naalala mo pa ba to? Yung materiality natin? Sana naalala mo pa, no? Okay, yung tolerable error daw kasi, may be an amount less than or equal to the materiality used for class of transactions. So, yung performance materiality natin. Okay. So, sa TOC, hindi tayo nagpo-project. Sa TOD, nagpo-project tayo. Okay. Para at least malaman natin yung expected error ba dun sa total population is mas mababa dun sa tolerable error natin. And yung techniques para mag-project tayo nung error na yan is yan, enumerated below. Una, difference estimation. Pangalawa, ratio estimation. And pangatlo, mean per unit estimation. Difference estimation is used to measure the estimated total misstatement, okay, in a population when there is both a recorded value and an audited value for each item in the sample. Okay, so ganito yung ginagawa. No? Halimbawa, nakapili na ng sample si auditor. Tapos, in-identify na ni auditor ano ba yung proper amount ng mga sample na nakuha niya. So, bali, in-audit niya na yung sample niya. So, magkakaroon na siya ng audited value for the sample. Okay. Then, i-compare lang yung recorded value dun sa audited value na yun. Yung recorded value, yung book value, no? Yung mismong nandun sa documents kung ano man yung sample na nakuha niya. Compare yon sa audited value, then kinukuha yung difference. Tapos, from that difference, tsaka magpo-project sa population. Okay? Then ito, ratio estimation naman is similar to difference estimation. So, ibig sabihin, kailangan mo pa rin dito yung audited value. Okay, except that, the point estimate of the population misstatement is determined by multiplying the portion of sample amount misstated times the total recorded population book value. Okay? Kasi meron ka ditong book value nung samples na sinelect mo. Tapos meron ka ring meron ka ring audited value nung samples na sinelect mo. Okay, itong dalawang 'yon. From that, kukuha ka naman ng ratio. So pag di-dividein mo lang sila, then yung ratio na 'yon, yun yung i-multiply mo doon sa total recorded population book value. Okay? Para ma-estimate mo magkano ba yung expected na audited value ng buong population. Okay? Then from that, makikita mo na yung difference nung book value ng total population and yung estimated audited value ng total population. Okay? Then yung last na projection technique, mean per unit estimation. The auditor is concerned with the audited value rather than the misstatement amount for each item in the sample. Except for the definition of what is being measured, this method is calculated in exactly the same manner as the difference estimate. The point of estimate of the audited value is the average audited value of items in the sample times the population size. So dito ang kaibahan lang naman niya dun sa nasan yun? Sa difference estimation is ang ginagamit dito sa mean per unit is from the name itself yung mean. Okay, yung average audited value of items and yung average book value ng items. Okay? So yun yung tatlong commonly used projection techniques. Ayan. Actually, dun sa libro natin, merong binigay na comprehensive example on projection of errors. Okay. Siguro ito, kaya mo namang sagutan on your own. Self-explanatory naman din. So mag-refer ka na lang dun sa libro mo for this. No? Comprehensive example on projection of errors. Ayan. Actually, sa ano natin, sa exams natin, bihira naman yung may computation na ganyan. Okay, pero at least dapat pag-aralan mo pa rin siya. Okay, para at kung lumabas man, hindi ka mabibigla. Okay? Ayan, so nagbigay doon sa book. An external auditor sent out positive confirmation request to 2,000 customers. Population size is 4,800 accounts with a total recorded value of 380. Ayan. 1,000 pesos. Okay? Ito yung monetary amount. The presented below are the summary results of the examination of confirmation replies received from customers. So ito, book value of sample selected, 159,960. Okay, kailangan mo ba yan para dito sa mga projection techniques na yan? Yes. Ayun o, recorded value kailangan mo dito sa difference. Pati yung audited value. Audited value of the sample selected, given din, ayun. 151,360. Ayan. Then ito, average or mean book value, which is 159,960, yung book value ng samples selected, divided by 2,000, yun yung number ng requests o ng confirmation requests na sinend. Okay, so makukuha mo yung average book value, which is 80. Kuhanin mo rin yung average audited value. Ito naman yun, 151,360 divided by 2,000, 76. Saan mo naman yan magagamit? Ayun, no? Sa mean per unit estimation. Okay. Ayan. Sige, gawin natin yung isang method, yung ratio estimation. So, compute for the ratio estimation. Yun yung gagawin natin dito, no? So, dito sa libro natin, makikita mo yung procedures na detailed, pero hindi ko kasi na-include dito sa handout nyo. So, susulat na lang natin siya. Sabi natin, mag-formulate tayo, gagawa tayo ng ratio, no? Gagawa tayo ng ratio kung saan ipoproject nga natin yung error sa kabuuan ng population. Okay, gawin natin dito. Okay, so given yung book value natin nung samples. Okay, given din yung book value ng buong population. Total recorded value is 380. Okay. Given din yung audited value ng samples. Pero syempre, hindi naman given yung audited value ng buong population. So, yun nga yung kailangan nating hanapin. Yung audited value ng buong population. So, para makuha yon, gawa ka ng fraction dito. Multiply mo dito sa book value ng population. Okay? So, sige. Gawin natin yung audited value o yung sample audited value. 151,360. Tapos yung sample book value. 159,960. Okay. Para magawa mo yung fraction, divide mo lang yung dalawang yan. So, SAV divided by SBV, 151,360 divided by 159,960. Makukuha mo is, teka, calculator natin. 151,360 divided by 159,960, 94.62%. Okay. Anong gagawin mo dyan? Multiply mo doon sa total population book value, which is 380,000. Ayun o. Times 380. So, 359,569. Ay, hindi pala ako nag-round off, no? Sige, mag-round off tayo. 94.62% times 380. Yan, 359,556. Okay, so ito yung expected expected audited value ng buong population. Ano bang term ni book dito? Ayan, EPAV pala kay libro. Okay. Estimated population audited value. Ganoon din, magkapalit lang ako. Estimated population audited value. Ayan. Then, anong gagawin mo dyan? Subtract mo dito sa book value ng buong population. 380. Makukuha mo ngayon yung projected misstatement na 359,556 minus 380. 20,444. Understatement or overstatement? Overstatement. Okay, kasi mas malaki yung book value kaysa dun sa expected audited value. Ibig sabihin, mas malaki. Overstated. So, overstatement. Okay. Siguro ganyan yung tatanong sa exam kung magkakaroon man. Pareho yung amount. Ganyan. Sa choice A, ganyan yung amount. Choice B, ganyan din yung amount. Pero meron dito understatement. Tapos dito may overstatement. Yan, binibigyan lang kita ng idea no, kung ano ba yung pwedeng maging tanong dito sa part na to. Okay, tapos dito, some other amount siguro kapag hindi ka nag-round off. Okay, so halimbawa 21, 2, 3, 4, etc. Okay, so dapat alam mo rin kung overstatement or understatement. Madali naman eh. Titingnan mo lang yung book value. Kapag mas mataas kaysa doon sa audited value, overstatement. Kapag naman mas mababa yung book value kaysa doon sa dapat na audited value, understatement yun. Okay, so ganito yung ginagawa sa ratio. No? And for the other two na procedure, eto, try mo na on your own. Okay, you can consult your textbook for this. Pero yun nga, madalang naman siya matanong. Okay. Ayan. O sige, try na kaya natin. Sige, consult na rin natin yung book ngayon. Discuss natin since marami pa namang oras. So, nagawa natin yung ratio estimation. Dito naman tayo, difference estimation. Ano yung ginawa ni libro dito? Okay, para ang ginawa pala niya dito is yung average yung ginamit niya. Average mean or audited value yung compare niya. Okay, so dito siya nag-compare sa 80 and 76. Then compute for projected misstatement. Bakit yung mean yung ginamit niya? Meron naman tayong amount dito. Meron naman tayong figures dito kung saan makikita niya agad yung differences. Bakit yung mean pa yung ginamit ni libro? Okay. So sige, wag na natin tong anin, wag na natin daanan. Baka ma-confuse ka pa. Then pati yung mean per unit estimation. Yan, average naman yung ginamit niya. Average or mean audited value times number of items in the population. Okay. Ayan. Sige, ayun. Baka ma-confuse ka lang pagka ginawa pa natin both o yung iba pang projection techniques. Ayan. Sige, hanggang dito lang muna yung natin, discussion for audit sampling. Okay, may question ka ba dito? Unmute ka lang kung may question ka. Okay, mukhang wala naman. No? Sige, stop natin yung recording.